Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We continue our study of Sri Tattva-sandarbha, written by Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, where he is helping us to understand who is Krishna, who we are, what is the connection between us and Krishna, and how to actually become happy in this material world. And today we have Ekadashi, it's Pashankusha Ekadashi, it's the first, traditionally Vaishnavas, they start practicing, start observing Kartika Vrata, either from Ekadashi to Ekadashi, or from Purnima to Purnima. So I think that maybe few of the great Vaishnavas already started Kartik Mass. It's very auspicious. Kartika is one of the names of Srimati Radharani, because she was born under the Kritika conch shell. So that's why it's the special mercy of Srimati Radharani which can help us to understand what Srila Jiva Goswami, who is the Vilasa Manjari, one of the very confidential servants of Srimati Radharani, what he can tell us about how to enter the actual Vrindavan and the actual service to the divine couple. So this is the not just some philosophy, not just some interesting facts, as Jiva Goswami, he quotes from many verses from Shrimad Bhagavatam, different scriptures, but his main goal only to help us to become genuine devotees, to love Krishna. And we already said how Jiva Goswami made a foundation of our faith, saying that the Shruti Pramana is the highest when we get knowledge, Shabda Pramana, when we get knowledge from the authoritative source. And then he told that the most authoritative is the Vedic Shabda. Then he analyzed the problems which are there in the Vedic Shabda, that they are not available at full right now, and then they are very difficult to understand. Then he turned our attention to Puranas and Itihasas, and he told that they can complete the message of the Vedas. They are actually the same Apurusha scriptures, and they can help us understand the Vedas. And then he analyzed what are there in the Puranas and Itihasas. He explained how they appeared into existence by the mercy of Srila Vyasadeva, who is not an ordinary sage. He is an empowered incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And as we said, that Krishna Dvapayanam Yasam Vidhi Narayanam Swayam, that he is not just Shakti Veshavatara, but he is the Lord Narayana himself. That's why he had this highest authority to edit the Vedas and to condense them and to check if everything which is there in the Vedas is bona fide and practical for the usage of the people in Kali Yuga. So Srila Vyasadeva, he stressed the importance of Puranas and Itihasas. Then Jiva Goswami analyzed what is there in the Puranas and Itihasas. And he shown also some problems with them, because they describe the different days of Lord Brahma in Sattva-guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna. Therefore, the events or historical facts which they describe, they might differ. The deities differ during the days of Lord Brahma, when he is under the influence of Tamaguna. Mostly Tamaguna prevails in the lives of living entities. They have these tamasika desires, and that's why they choose to worship the deities who can provide those desires. And usually this is the Agni or Lord Shiva and somebody else. And because of that, those deities become more prominent at those days. And therefore, the whole events can bring us to the conclusion that yes, that's the highest Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's the highest truth. but it's not so. Because in different days of Lord Brahma, when he is under the influence of Sattva Guna or Raja Guna, people choose different deities, and those deities, they become more glorified and prominent. So that's why it's difficult to understand what is the coherent, how to say, overall message of the Puranas and Itihasas. And then Jiva Goswami, he proposed that we should choose the Puranas for the people in the mode of goodness, Sattvika Puranas. But then also, not all of them are available in full. Some portions of them might be corrupted, and also we don't have commentaries how to understand them. And only to Bhagavata Purana and Vishnu Purana we have commentaries. And then Jiva Goswami, he proposed that maybe because Vedanta Sutra is the book which summarizes the whole philosophy of the Vedas and Upanishads. And because Vedas and Puranas and Itihasas, they are the same, is the same Apurusha scriptures, maybe the same Vedanta Sutra can help us to summarize the message of the Puranas and Itihasas. And Jiva Goswami, he says, yes, it could be possible, but not all the sages will accept the authority of Vedanta Sutra, because there are different sutras. Jaimini Mimamsa Sutra, this Kapila Muni Sutra, so many sutras are there. And they will argue that why Vedanta Sutra? Why not our sutras? And then Jiva Goswami, he told that, yes, Srila Vyasadeva, he already knew about their objections. And he, in the second part of the Vedanta Sutra, which is called Avirodhapada, he answered all the objections of different philosophies, and he settled that the highest truth is the Brahman. Brahmiti, Paramatmiti, Bhagavan, iti Shabdyate. That this supreme absolute truth can be manifested in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So Srila Vyasadeva already did it, but his sutras themselves, they are very, very complicated, and therefore they need commentaries, different bhashyas, and different sages. When they write bhashyas, they contradict each others. We'll see just very soon what is the structure of the Vedanta Sutra, and that's why it's sometimes it's very you can devise the sutras as you like, and then you'll get completely different meaning, opposite meaning, opposite to what Srila Vyasadeva wanted to express. That's why the Sharirika Bhashya of Shripad Shankaracharya is so dangerous, because he used this opportunities which are there in the Vedanta Sutra to twist its meaning, to give his own explanation, and to provide his own ideas. So that's why Vedanta Sutra also don't work. And then Jiva Goswami, he proposed, maybe only if we had the scripture which has the Apaurushaya authority, actually it should be one of the Puranas, then it should be connected to Vedanta Sutra, it should embody all the knowledge which is there in all Puranas, Itihasas, Vedas and so on, and then that scripture should be available in full right now. We should have an access to all the parts of this scripture. And then Jiva Goswami tells, yes, thank you so much. You reminded us about Shrimad Bhagavatam. And then Jiva Goswami, he explained it, like he studied all the Puranas, what are the qualities of this Bhagavata Purana. He quoted different verses from Skanda Purana, from Matsya Purana, from Garuda Purana, saying that, yes, looks like that's our book, because it's Arthayam Brahma Sutranam. It's the original commentary, Akritrima Bhashya, to the Vedanta Sutras, written by the author, Srila Vyasadeva. Then Bharatartha Vinirnaya. As we said, that Mahabharata is the book which was written by Srila Vyasadeva in order to help us understand the overall message of the Vedas and Puranas. So it has so many important things, and Mahabharata Vinirnaya. But it also has some portions which speaks directly to the bhakti, about Krishna, but so many different things are there. So, as we said, that Mahabharata is kind of a bridge preaching, which Srila Sadeva used to attract the attention of the conditioned people who don't want to immediately start practicing devotional service. Just drop by drop, this Krishna Katha, this attraction to Krishna goes into their hearts, and then they can get some higher taste and start practicing devotional service. And because so many things are there in the Mahabharata, you should put everything in a proper perspective. So that's why Bharatartha Vinirnaya, Srimad Bhagavatam helps us to understand how all parts of Mahabharata bring us to the same goal, to devotional service to Krishna. And then Gayatri Bhashya Rupa Savam. Gayatri mantra is the mother of all the Vedas, and it inspires us to meditate on Supreme Lord. And also Gayatri mantra is like everybody chant the Brahma Gayatri mantra. Shaktas chanted, then Vedic Brahmanas like Smartas chant Brahma Gayatri mantra, then Vaishnava can also chant Brahma Gayatri mantra, and everybody puts his own meaning to the Brahma Gayatri mantra, and it's like a zoom. You want to make a picture of some object, and you have to make a zoom. So then, depending of what kind of zoom is there, you can see it properly or not properly, like distinctly or not distinctly or not distinctly. So in the same way, Brahma Gayatri mantra, if you put some another not proper meaning to the Brahma Gayatri mantra, it will give some corruption or to your understanding of the Vedas. So that's why Srimad Bhagavatam is kind of a ideal zoom, like a perfect zoom to understand Brahma Gayatri mantra. And because of Gayatri Bhashya Rupa Savam, Srimad Bhagavatam explains what is the meaning of Brahma, what is the goal of chanting Brahma Gayatri mantra. It's not just some Surya or Surya Dev or the sun, or even Surya Narayana. Actually, it's on the very, very higher sense. It's a meditation of the Radha Krishna and Goloka Vrindavana. It's very, very esoteric meaning, and Srimad Bhagavatam provides us that understanding. So this is the highest ideal zoom by which you can chant the Brahma Gayatri mantra and get the most benefit. And then Srila Jiva Goswami, he says that Vidartha Pribrimhitah, that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the book which can give you understanding of all the other Vedic literatures. Without Srimad Bhagavatam, you won't be able to understand it. Okay, and then Jiva Goswami he told that yes, that's the book which we study, and then answering the question, I'm just giving the summary of what we have already studied before. I haven't Advaita Krishna Guru, I haven't started yet on the Shredas, yes. It's just the summary. So and then Jiva Goswami he answered the objection or the doubt. Is Srimad Bhagavatam available right now in full? Because some part of the Bhagavatam could be corrupted or changed and so on. So in this way he told that yes, there are so many commentaries of different acharyas on Srimad Bhagavatam where they explain the original text, and then sometimes they quote verses from Srimad Bhagavatam as they are. So because so many commentaries are there, you can by them check whether the version of Srimad Bhagavatam is proper or not. So in this way he proved that Srimad Bhagavatam is available in full right now on the earth. And then he quoted different scholars. He told that different acharyas of Gaudiya Vaishnava, of Vaishnava Sampradayas, they wrote commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam. Then he spoke about the opinion of the Himadri, who is the mundane scholar, who was praising like any sin Srimad Bhagavatam. Then he spoke about the opinion of Shankaracharya, who also very, very great Acharya, very authoritative. And he wrote a few books like Govindashtakam, which describes the some pastimes from of Krishna, which are written only in Srimad Bhagavatam, not in any other literatures. And then Srila Jiva Goswami, he taught, like proven by external arguments what is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then he starts quoting Srimad Bhagavatam itself. And we had this very, very wonderful verses where it is said that if you don't have Srimad Bhagavatam in your house, in your home, you're not a Vaishnava. And if you do have Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna along with all the principal demigods will come to your house, will stay there, and will give you all prosperity, whatever you need. If you recite Srimad Bhagavatam before the deities of Lord Vishnu, you will get liberation, you will get the love of Godhead. It's such an important book. So, and then last thing he did, we stopped at the 24th Anusheda, that such a great Acharya as Madhavacharya, originally he was a Mayavadi, but then while after coming in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam, he read Srimad Bhagavatam and he became a Vaishnava. So that's why, and then he wrote commentaries, Mahabharata, Bhagavata Tatpari Nirnaya, where Madhavacharya refutes all the Mayavadi's commentaries. And also we told that Shankaracharya, he didn't write a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, but his followers like Purnaranya, they wrote this commentary, but not to whole Bhagavatam, but mostly to the Chaturshloki Srimad Bhagavatam, because it's very, very difficult to explain whole Srimad Bhagavatam according to the impersonal views, Mayavadi views. So that's why Madhavacharya, he refuted their commentaries in his commentary, Bhagavata Tatpari Nirnaya. That's what we have studied before. And now Srila Jiva Goswami, he is going to speak about the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam as it's been spoken in Bhagavatam itself. What Bhagavatam says about its own importance. Okay, so this is the logic what we have now, and we are right now on the 24th Anucheda of Tattva-sandarbha. That's the page 104 right now. Okay, so and let us chant the Mangala prayers, because as we say that we can understand the meaning of sandarbhas only by the mercy. Like in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Bhakti Bhagavata Grahya Nabudhya Nachatika. Only by Bhakti you can understand the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nabudhya, not by logic, not by intelligence, and even not by some commentaries. Yes. Okay, so again, this is the Tattva-sandarbha. In this book, this is page 104 and Anusheda 24. Now we are on the second paragraph. So let's chant this Mangala prayers and then we'll go further. Okay. Om Gana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vancha Kalpataro Pisha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tamaha vande shigurum jivataranam shirupa charana dvandva raginam brajavasinam shijivam sadatam vande mandeshvanam dadayanam. Hare Krishna. One more time, thank you very much, dear devotees, that you attend this seminar on Tattva-sandarbha. I know that you don't have to, and still you come, despite all the faults which we have in this seminar. And Srila Jiva Goswami, he is speaking, he's quoting the next verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. This is from the first canto, 1.341. Tatadam grahayam asa suttam atmavatam varam sarvavedetiha sanam saram samudritam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, which page?
Page 104.
One?
104.
Oh, thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Yes, you're welcome. Most welcome. Thank you. Okay. So he's saying Shri Vyasadeva delivered Srimad Bhagavatam to his son, the most respected among the self-realized, after extracting the cream of all the Vedic literatures and histories of the universe. So this very important verse where it says that Sarvavediti Hasnam Saram Samudritam. As we said, the original proposition by Jiva Goswami was that it would be nice to have a book which embodies all the important things which are in whole Vedas and Itihasas. But because Vedas and Itihasas, they are so vast, so big, so it should be like in kind of in the condensed, understandable way. Because if you have a very, very huge scripture, you won't have a whole life to study it thoroughly. So in this way, it should be like reasonable size, but everything which is needed, important in the Vedas and Itihasas should be there. So that's why Jiva Goswami, he quotes this verse. Yes, that's the book, Srimad Bhagavatam. Sarva Vediti Hasanam Saram Samudritam. Everything which is important out of all Vedas and Itihasas is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes. And then Tatadam Grahayam Asa Sutam Atmavatam Varam. And Srila Vyasadeva, he manifested the Srimad Bhagavatam. Very soon we'll see how it happened. Originally it was by the instruction given by his spiritual master, Srila Narada Muni, who told him Urukrama Syakyala Bandha Muktaye Samadhina Tat Samadhinam Tat Samadhina Nusmara Tat Vijeshtitam. So he told that for the sake of deliverance, all the living entities, Urukramasya Vijeshtitam Samadhina Tat Anusmara. You should enter into samadhi of devotional service and remember the pastimes of the Supreme Lord and then describe them. And this way, Srila Vyasadeva, he entered into samadhi and he saw Srimad Bhagavatam as it was. And then the question arises, okay, Srila Vyasadeva, he knew Srimad Bhagavatam, but what about Shukadeva Goswami? He was his disciple, his son. And then we know that Srila Vyasadeva, he gave Srimad Bhagavatam to his son, Shukadeva Goswami. But we can see that, especially in this Kas Goswami Apasampradaya, that the father gives the next turn to his son, and son might not be qualified or might be qualified. But then what is the question? Does it mean that Srila Vyasadeva, he just liked his son and he gave him Srimad Bhagavatam? But was Shukadeva Goswami qualified or not? And then to say that actually Shukadeva Goswami was Sutam, he was the son, but Atmavatam Varam, Atmavan means one who realized himself. Atma means your soul, Atma means that super soul, supreme Lord. Atmavatam Varam. So he was, Vara means the best. So Shukadeva Goswami was the best out of those who realized himself. You see? And then we know how when this account in the very beginning of the second chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Yam pravajantam anupetyam apetta krityam dvepaina virahakatar ajuhava putre chitan mayataya taravopyanedus tam sarvabhuta hridayam munim anatasmi. This is part of the Mangala Charana of Srila Sutta Goswami, where he prays to his spiritual master, Shukadeva Goswami. Yam pravajantam anupettam apetta krityam dvapaina virahakatra ajuhava. Krishna Dvapaina Vyasa, he was, when Shukadeva Goswami, he was born, and then he left his house without taking initiation, without going through the learning scriptures under the direction of his father, Srila Vyasadeva. He just left his house. And Dvapaina Virahakatara Ajuhava. And Krishna Dvapaina Vyasa, he was very much under the suffering. Viraha means the separation. Why? Just so many great sages are there. And then his son left him. And that was not just mundane separation. That your beloved son left your home. It wasn't like that. Because Srila Vyasadeva, he knew that amongst all his disciples, nobody is qualified in the same way as Shukadeva Goswami to receive and preserve the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Srila Vyasadeva, he divided Vedas into many parts, and then he gave each and every part of the Vedas to one of his disciples. And then we know the story about the Jaimini Rishi, who, while receiving this knowledge, he came to one place where Srila Vyasadeva says that, what is this verse? Balavan Indriya Gramo Vidvamsam Apikarshati, that mantra svarsha duhitrava navivitsa thatsavo bhavet. Balavan Indriya Gramo Vidvamsam Apikarshati, that you shouldn't be in the secluded place with your mother, your sister, and your daughter. Why? Balavan Indriya Gramo, because the senses are very strong, and you can fall the victim of the lust. And Vidvamsam Apikarshati. And it is said that even Vidvan, even learned person who knows the things as they are, Karshati, he can become attracted. So that's why it's dangerous to stay alone with your mother, sister, and daughter. You can imagine, what is the problem? My mother, my sister, my daughter, we love them, but problem can be there. And then this Jaimini Rishi, he read this and he thought maybe Vyasadeva mistaken, because actually those who are on the transcendental level, they won't become attracted. So that's why he decided to change. Vidvamsam, it was originally Vidvamsam Apikarshati, but he changed it Vidvamsam Napikarshati, that the learning person won't get attracted even to his sister, mother, and daughter, so he can stay alone with them. And then he thought, okay, I corrected Srila Vyasadeva, he just make a mistake, some typo, and so on. Okay. And then Vyasadeva, because he is Sarvagья or Trikalagya, he knows past, present, and future, so he understood this corruption, this mistake which was made by his disciple. And then we know the story, how he taught him that you shouldn't do like this. at night, Jaimini Rishi, he was staying alone in his cottage, and then one woman came, and Rain was there. She asked, can I stay with you the night? And he said, okay, no problem, you can stay. And then he became lusty to her, and she told, okay, if you want, you have sex with me, first you have to marry. And then he just very, very quickly did Vivaha Yajna, and then after the Yajna you should take your wife on your hand and just go after the sacrificial fire 4 times. And then he was just circumambulating the fire 1 time, 2nd time, 3rd time, and then suddenly this girl turned it into Srila Vyasadeva, great sage, and he started beating him on his head. Vidam samapi karshati, vidam samapi karshati. Don't change the Vedas. So therefore Srila Vyasadeva, he already had this experience that your disciples, other disciples, they can change the meaning of the Vedas, of the scriptures. And then, because Srimad Bhagavatam is the book which is supposed to save whole people in Kali Yuga, if any change will be there, it will be big tragedy, like big problem for nobody will be able to get liberated, to get bhakti. So that's why it's a very, very great responsibility. And Srila Vyasadeva, he was checking that disciple, no, that disciple, no, that one, no. Only Shukadeva Goswami was competent, or he has an adhikara to receive Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why Srila Vyasadeva was so much disturbed when Shukadeva Goswami, he left his house. And we know that he sent, then next he sent his disciples, and he asked them to recite verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. And because of that, Srila Shukadeva Goswami, he got attracted, and then he went home, and then he studied Srimad Bhagavatam. He's going to speak about that also later on in his in the 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 2, 1, 9, 10. These 2 verses he will speak about himself. So that's the importance why Srila Vyasadeva gave Srimad Bhagavatam to Shukadeva Goswami, not because he was his son, but because he was the most qualified out of all people who lived in this material world at that time. And then in this way, that's the qualification of Shukadeva Goswami. And then Jiva Goswami, he quotes also one verse on the same topic, actually, from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where also it is said that all knowledge of Bhagavatam, of knowledge of Vedas, Itihasas, is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, in full. Sarvajna hi Shri Bhagavatam ishyate, tatra samrita triptasya, nanyatra syatra chih kvachit. Sarvajna hi. Srimad Bhagavatam is declared the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. One who has felt satisfaction for its nectarian mellow rasa will never be attracted to any other literatures. Okay? So, Sarva Vedanta Saram. Vedanta means the final conclusions of the Vedas, of the Upanishads. Upanishads, they are called Vedanta. And then Sarva Vedanta Saram, the essence of all the conclusions of Upanishads, of the Vedanta, is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he says, it's not just philosophy. Tattva-sandarbha triptasya nanitrasya trachih kvachit. If you take the taste of Tattva-sandarbha, it also has the highest rasa. Rasa means the emotions, the pleasure. It's not just some dry philosophy. It's very tasty, like a amrita, nectar. And then also he quotes the verse from the 1st canto, 113. Nigamakalapatarorgalitam phalam shukamukha tamrita dravasam yutam pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures. It emanates from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Also, That's very important things. And also another verse, I'll just read it and then explain. It's the second part of the Mangalacharana, 1 to 3, Srimad Bhagavatam. Also, it's spoken by Sri Sudha Goswami as a prayer to his spiritual master. Yasvam nubhavam akilushuti saramekam adhyatma jipam atititi shatam tamondham samsarinam karunayaha purana guhyam tam sarva vyasasunam upayami guru muninam. Let me offer my respectful obeisances into him, Shuka, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who, out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge, after having personally assimilated it by experience. So this is the Sudha Goswami, and the question can arise, okay, Shukadeva Goswami, like Srila Vyasadeva, yes, he's chosen the most competent disciple, Sri Sudha Goswami, and then he gave this knowledge to Shukadeva Goswami, I'm sorry. And then Shukadeva Goswami, was he like Srila Vyasadeva, he saw him competent to receive Srimad Bhagavatam. But it might be a mistake, because you might see somebody who is very nice disciple, very nice student, but then finally it happens that he's bogus, he's some duplicitous person, and then you gave him all the knowledge and then he just spoiled it. So the question can arise, did Shukadeva Goswami spoil the message of Srimad Bhagavatam? Or he preserved it? Or did he do something more? And then he says, Jiva Goswami, he says, Shukadeva Goswami not only didn't spoil the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, not only he preserved the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, but he improved it. Wow, how is it possible? Shukamukat Amrita Drava Samhitam, because when he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam, it became even more tasty. Wow, even better. It was already good, but it became even better. And how Goparanam Prabhu explains that there are different kinds of anuvada or translations or explanations. Like one anuvada is when you translate from one language to another, like from English to Hindi or Sanskrit to English and so on. So this is the one kind of anuvada. Then second kind of anuvada is when you take the original text and then you explain it. You just make a commentary on this. You give verses and then you explain them. But then the third one of Anuvada is when you just repeat it as it is without changing any word or any syllable, but you put your Anubhava, your experience, your love, like your devotion into this message when you speak from the book. And that's the improvement of the book. That's the highest anuvada. And that's why Srila Shukadeva Goswami, he repeated Srimad Bhagavatam. But then it was even more tasty. Why? Because like the shuka, the parrot, when you have this mango fruit, it's already sweet, especially when it's ripened. But if shuka touches it, some chemical reaction happens, and it becomes even more sweeter, like this. That's how our Acharya explained the contribution of Shukadeva Goswami, what he did. He just repeated Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we'll see how, when he was repeating Srimad Bhagavatam, his father, his Srila Vyasadeva, his actually father and guru, Bhagavata guru, and then Narada Muni, who was the guru of the Srila Vyasadeva. Both of them stayed there, but they listened to Shukadeva Goswami's explanation as it was new for them. It was unique for them. So that's why Shukadeva Goswami, he did something more. Like, and at the same time, he didn't change any word of Srimad Bhagavatam. So as we say that Vedas is not just words, not just shabda, which we can receive, hear, or speak. No, it's something more. Shabda Brahma Sudurbata, Pranendre Mano Mayam. That's the sun on different levels of existence. And as Jiva Goswami said, that Vedas embody all the energies of the universe. And most important energy is the spiritual energy. And spiritual energy has this Sankhini, Samhita, and Hladini Shakti. And it's the Yogamaya which provides the devotional service. And because Shukadeva Goswami, he was the greatest devotee, he put his devotion in the words of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why he just repeated what he's heard from his father. But because of his devotion, it became unique even for his guru and param guru. Like this. And then they say that Tam Vyasa Sunnam Upayami Gurum Muninam. He was guru of all great sages. You see? And then Shukadeva Jiva Goswami in the 25th Anucheda, page 107, he starts speaking about what happened when Shukadeva Goswami, he came to the assembly of great sages. We know the story that Maharaja Parikshit, he was cursed to be killed after 7 days by this Takshaka, and he went on the bank of Ganga, and then he was fasting until death. And because of that, all the great sages from the whole universe, they came there, and he asked them what is the highest meaning of the what is the highest meaning of the what you should do in ordinary circumstances, and especially at the verge of death, at the time of death. And then at that time Shukadeva Goswami came, and Jiva Goswami, he is going to speak what happened in that great assembly. Gurum Muninam, he was accepted as the guru of all great sages. It was not just words by disciples, by the disciple Sudha Goswami in praise of his guru, not some kind of arthavada, exaggeration. No, it was actually Shukadeva Goswami, he was accepted as the guru of all great sages. Okay, and then he says, this is 25th Anucheda. I won't quote the verses because it's basically is the list of all great sages. It is well known that Shukadeva assumed the role of guru for all the sages who placed him on the seat of instructor for their assembly. Thus, it is said, this verses from 1st Canto, 19th chapter, 8 to 12 verses. They said, at the time all the great-minded thinkers, accompanied by their disciples, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrim's journey. Simply by their presence, such sages verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage. From different parts of the universe, there arrived great sages like Atri, Vasishtha, Chyavana, and Sharadvan, Arishtanemi, Brigu, and Angira, Parashara, Vishwamitra, and Parashurama. Not just sages, Parashurama, who is the Supreme Lord, and Uttatya, Indra Pramada, and Indhamavahu. The sage Medhatithi arrived, and Devala, and Arishtasena, Bharadvaja, Gautama, and Pipalada arrived, and Maitreya, Aurva, Kavasha, and Kumbhayoni, and Dvapayana arrived, and the great Narada, Kumbhayoni, this is the Vishwamitra Muni, great sage. Dvapayana, Krishna Dvapayana, Vyasa arrived, and the great Narada. And from different dynasties of sages, there were also many other saintly demigods, brahmanas, and kings, and a special rank of saintly kings called Arunadayas. When they all assembled to meet the emperor Parikshit, he received them properly and bowed his head to the ground. After all the riches and others had seated themselves comfortably, the king, humbly standing before them with joined palms, told them of his decision to fast until death. And then the king said, O trustworthy Brahmanas, now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unallowed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and especially of those who are just about to die. And Shripada in the commentary, just a second, I'll check where is it. Yes, this is the 1:19. 25. No, 24. 24 and 25. In the commentary to 1:19:25, Srila Prabhupada, he tells that when Parikshit Maharaj asked his question, great sages couldn't come to the proper conclusion, to one opinion. What should Parikshit Maharaj should do? There are many different ways how to save yourself, which are according to the spiritual level of those who are practicing, and to the level of the great sage. But sometimes the different physicians, they see the patient and then can give different prescriptions to that patient. So in the same way, many physicians were there, but they couldn't come to the proper conclusion. And why it happened? Just one explanation is that there are different sages. Like in the second canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam, when Shukadeva Goswami he answered already to the question of Parikshit Maharaj, then because he saw that in the assembly there are many different yogis or karmakandis or jnanis, so for the sake of them he speaks the second part of the first chapter and then second and third chapters in the beginning to explain different methods of success, like Kramapadha. This is the Kramamukti, I'm sorry. That's the way how the yogis liberate themselves from the material world. Like he explains all the processes, meditation on the super soul, on the Virat Rupa, and then he comes to the conclusion. Akama sarvakama moksha kama udaratхих tivrena bhakti yogina yajeta purusham param. 2, 3, then Shrimad Bhagavatam. That whether you are full of material desires, or you want to become liberated from this material existence, or you have akama, you have only one desire to serve Krishna, you should intensely perform devotional service. Yajeta Purusham Param, to Supreme Lord Krishna. So that's why Shukadeva Goswami he speaks about the different processes for the sake of those sages, so that they could see that he knows all the processes, all the methods of spiritual life. They follow or they trust themselves. And then Shukadeva Goswami he told, yes, that's okay, it can work, but bhakti can work better. So that's why different sages were there, and because they had different opinions on the different level of understanding absolute truth, they gave different answers to the Maharaja Parikshit Maharaja's question. And then finally, Shukadeva Goswami he entered, and then they said, Tatra bhavad bhagavan vyasa putro yadrichhaya gam atamanana pikshah alaksharingo nijalab thatushto vritaschal balar avadhuta veshaha. At that moment, there arrived the powerful son of Vyasadeva, who traveled over the earth, indifferent and satisfied within himself. He was an Atmarama, so he didn't have any lobha, any greediness, any material desires while speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami did not manifest any symptoms of belonging to any social order or status of life. He was surrounded by women and children and was dressed like an avadhuta, avadhuta vesha. So Shukadeva Goswami he arrived, and then Jiva Goswami he tells, then the sages all rose from their seats to honor him. Wow! all great sages, we just read the list of the sages. They are much elder than Shukadeva Goswami. Like Angira Muni, who is the son of Lord Brahma, and Lord Parashurama, like his guru, his Param Guru. All the sages, they stood up before him because he knew that he is carrying in his heart the most precious treasure of Shrimad Bhagavatam, and now he is going to speak Shrimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And then it is said, Sasambritas tatra mahan mahiyasam brahmarshi rajarshi sararshi varyaih vyarojchatalam bhagavan yatyendur graharksha tara nigaraih paritaha. Shukadeva Goswami was then surrounded by saintly sages and demigods, just as the moon is surrounded by stars, planets, and other heavenly bodies. His presence was gorgeous, and he was respected by all. So all the great sages, they stood up before him, and they started showing respect to him. So that's why Guru Muni Nam, he was the guru of all the great sages. And that's why Shukadeva Goswami, he was most qualified to receive Shrimad Bhagavatam. And then Jiva Goswami speaks, he explains what happened, that both Srila Vyasadeva and Narada were present. They were Shukadeva's spiritual master and grand spiritual master, Guru and Param Guru. Yet, as Shrimad Bhagavatam emanated from Shukadeva's mouth, to them it seemed like something they had never heard before. Thus, it is understood that Shukadeva acted as preceptor even for the two of them. Jiva Goswami, he says that Ittivam Shishuka Tau Upajidesh Deshyam It's Abhiprayaha. So he became the guru for his guru and his Param Guru. Wow, you can imagine. Such a qualification, such a like you have your spiritual master, and then your Guru Maharaj can ask you, could you please give a lecture? And then he sits, and then Guru feels that actually he is not the guru of the disciple, but disciple is his guru. Wow, vice versa. It turned it like upside down. See, that's what happened with Shukadeva Goswami. Such a great qualification of him, you see. And then, for this reason also, and then they said that by being touched by Shuka's mouth, that fruit had become soft and full of nectar. As it was said, that Shukamukhatamrita drava samyutam. For these reasons also, Shrimad Bhagavatam is superior to all other scriptures. Why? Okay. We know that you have so many different books like Vedas, Itihasas, Mahabharata, and so on. That's what Srila Vyasadeva compiled. Yes, it's important. Those are some important books, but Srimad Bhagavatam is even more important than them. Why? Because Vyasadeva, who knew all the books, Vyasadeva, who knew Srimad Bhagavatam, because he manifested Srimad Bhagavatam, but he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. That's why it's the highest manifestation of the knowledge embodied in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Prabhu, can I ask something?
Yes, please, Mataji, please ask.
Prabhu, you know how in Bhagavatam we hear about how Vidura approaches Uddhava for wisdom, and then Uddhava tells him, no, it's not appropriate that you hear from me because I'm younger, you should go to hear from Maitreya, that's the etiquette. So it seems like Shukadev speaking in the presence of these elders, especially his own guru and Param Guru, it seems to be a breach of the standard etiquette.
Yes. Actually, it is said that the very first word which Shukadeva Goswami tells is Bhagavatam 2.1. Варянни шате прашна крита лока хитам липа атмавит саматах пумсам шутебьяди шуях параха. He says that your question is praiseworthy because it can bring the happiness for all living entities in this world. And then Atmavit Samatah Pumsam. Atmavit Samatah. Atmavit means those who have realized it themselves. Samatah, they will agree. And Vishnu Chakravarti in that in commentary to this verse, he says that at that time Shukadeva Goswami, he bows down to his guru, his param guru, and asks, please confirm, please give me blessings so that I could recite Srimad Bhagavatam in your presence. So he followed the etiquette. Okay, that's why.
So as long as you ask blessings,
Yes,
it's okay.
yes. Jiva Goswami, he speaks about the that in Bhakti-sandarbha. He says that if Guru agree, Upadesham, don't remember exactly. I can find this verse. If you like, I can send you in the chat afterwards. It will take some time. But he says that if a disciple speaks in front of his spiritual master and gives instructions, that's the highest offense you can commit. But if your guru ordered you to speak in his presence, you should do that, because otherwise it will be Gururvagya. You see? So if your guru asks you to preach in his presence, it's okay if you preach. Yeah, it won't be Maryada Vitikrama, the transgression of the Vaishnava etiquette. Okay. Thank you. Nice question. Thank you. Then, see, so basically, and then Jiva Goswami, he tells, yes, Shukadeva Goswami, he was most qualified to speak Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he didn't spoil the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. He preserved and even improved it by his devotion. And like one story tells that he was actually the parrot of Srimad Radharani, but it's kind of the Puranic story, and our acharyas, they don't quote it too much. So, but still, some opinion is there. And actually, in Srimad Bhagavatam, one explanation, when you see these verses which start Shishuku Vacha, Shri Shuku Vacha, usually we understand that Shri Shuku Vacha, Shri Yukta Shuka, Shukadeva Goswami, who is endowed with all opulences, all great qualities and so on, he spoke that statement. But Shri can also mean the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. And then we know that Devi Krishna Maya Prokta Ratika Paradaivata Sarvalakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Samohini Para Brihad Gautamiya Tantra, which is quoted by Jiva Goswami in the commentary to Bhakti Rasamrita Chintana 111, speaking about Srimati Radharani. Devi Krishna Maya Prokta, this Srimati Radharani, she is not an ordinary girl. She is non-different from Krishna, actually, Krishna Mai. And then Krishna Mai means that her consciousness is always absorbed in Krishna service. Ratika Paradaivata, Sarva Lakshmi Mai, and she is the source of all goddesses of fortune. Sarvakanti, she embodies all the beauty, and Samohini Para, she can bewilder even Lord Krishna. Krishna is known as Madana Mohana, but she is known as Madana Mohana Mohini. So actually, Shri Shuka Vacha can mean that Shriyaha Shuka Vacha, the parrot of Shri, the Lakshmi Devi, but not just kind of Lakshmi Devi, but the original Lakshmi Devi, the parrot of Srimati Radharani. So that's why we can say that even in Srimad Bhagavatam, the name of Srimati Radharani is there, but in the hidden form. Okay? So he is not an ordinary person. He is a great devotee, great sage. Okay? And Jiva Goswami then tells, when we hear that the Matsya and other Puranas are the greatest, that is only relative. Indeed, Srimad Bhagavatam is the exact image of Shri Krishna himself, and we need say nothing more. Yes, you have some questions, right?
Yes, Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes, Advaita Krishna, Prabhu, please.
I also heard just like Uddhava is combination of two personalities, and that Sukadeva Goswami also is a combination of the person Sukadeva, who is a son of Vyasadeva, and also Srimati Radharani's Sukha, parrot. Is that so?
I've never heard of that Krishna Prabhu. I cannot, I don't want to speculate. It might be so,
Because
yes.
I've also heard that there is no pramana that that Sukadev is Srimati Radharani's parrot.
Yes, yes. Some story is there in the Puranas. It's related to this verse. Aham vita, which is spoken by Lord Shiva to Parvati. Aham vita shukaviti vyasaveta navetiva bhaktya bhagavata grahyam nabudhya nachitikaya. That Lord Shiva says, Aham vita, Aham with me, I know. Shukaviti, Shuka also knows. Vyasaveti navetiva. But Vyasa may not or may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. And this that relate to the story where this Shukadeva Goswami, as the parrot of Srimad Radharani, when Krishna left this world, he was very, very much agreed, and then he heard how Lord Shiva speaks Srimad Bhagavatam to Parvati Devi, and then he came to listen. And then we know the story that Parvati Devi starts falling asleep, and then Shukadeva, when Lord Shiva was asking her, do you understand? Do you hear me? And she was sleeping. And then Shukadeva Goswami, in order to continue this narration, he was speaking with the voice of Parvati Devi. Yes, yes, my dear husband, I'm hearing you. So nice, so nice. Continue. And then finally, what happened? Parvati Devi started to snore.
That article I read was written by Indra.
Yes.
He was explaining about it. And
Yes.
I wanted to get some reference, some pramana.
Yes, but actually, I was trying to find it, but I didn't find it. It is there in some Puranas, but it might be not so authoritative. So that's why Jiva Goswami doesn't speak about that. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay. And then Matsyadinam yat Purana Atikyam Shwete, when Matsya Purana says that I'm the best Purana, or Skanda Purana, Padma Purana says that I'm the best Purana, Jiva Goswami tells that Tattva-pekshikam iti, that this is the relative. Yes, it's the best, but in comparison to Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not the best. It's good, but Bhagavatam is much better. And then he tells just one very, very important word. Just remember it also. It's on the page 111. Very last sentence of the paragraph in the Sanskrit. Aho kim bhuna Shri Krishna pratiniti rupam evedam. Kim bhuna. What is the use to speak more about the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam? Shri Krishna pratiniti rupam. Pratiniti rupam means is the copy of Shri Krishna. Wow. And then we know this verse. Krishna Swadhama Pakate Dharma Jnana Dipih. Jiva Goswami, he quotes this verse. Yaduktam Pradhama Skandhi. Krishna Swadhama Pakate Dharma Jnana Dipih Saha Kalo Nashta Drisha Puranartha Tunojitaha. When Krishna left this world, the Srimad Bhagavatam is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in the age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So, Shri Krishna Pratiniti Rupam means that, like in the chess, if you have ever played chess, you can do this. It's called I don't know how to call it in English. In Russian, it's rakirovka. Anyway, so when you change one figure with another, like this. So Krishna left this world, and in his place appeared Srimad Bhagavatam. So actually, Krishna left this world, and he took with himself all dharma, jnana, dipih, saha, or everything which was good in this world. But then appeared Srimad Bhagavatam, which also have dharma, jnana, adi, and so on. And it's like the sun, which can eliminate the darkness of the Kali Yuga, and give the knowledge how to serve Krishna in Kali Yuga. So that's why Jiva Goswami, he proves that Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. And Sri Sanatana Goswami in his Krishna Lila Stava, he says, Shri Krishna Parivartita. Srimad Bhagavatam is the copy, or is the second copy of Krishna. It's not different from him. And in Padma Purana we have this verse when it is said that first two canto they are the legs of Supreme Lord, and then second two cantos they are the thighs, and then his belly, and his 10th canto is his face, and then like this, all 12 canto they are part of the body of Krishna. Okay. Mataji Prabhupada Priya. Yes, please ask. Yes.
So is it correct to say that Shukadev heard the Bhagavatam twice, once from Lord Shiva in his parrot form and again from Vyasadeva?
Actually, I'm not sure. I'm a little bit reluctant to quote this story about Shukadeva Goswami when he's heard it from Lord Shiva, because it's like kind of our charity they don't comment on this. So that's why
it's not from a confirmed source.
Yes. That's why the most common understanding that Shukadeva Goswami he received Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Vyasadeva. That's what we have confirmation in all the scriptures.
So then when we say that Shukadev's recitation was more sweet and that he was able to recite it in a way that even Vyasa and Narada had never heard before, is that just because of his personal realizations?
Yes, and you can see also in the Nectar of Devotion, like in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, actually to say that there are different kinds of prema. Like prema can be bhava, bhavaja, born by bhava, by like you practice sadhana, then by sadhana you come to bhava bhakti, and then from bhava bhakti you get prema bhakti. Or it can be born by the special mercy of Krishna, of the Supreme Lord. And then, while speaking about the special mercy of Krishna, it is said that that's the highest prema you can achieve. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I was just very recently read it, but in his commentary, Srila Jiva Goswami, he gives an example of Shukadeva Goswami, who was in the womb of his mother, and then even there he received prema from Krishna, like that. I can check it one more time after the class, but he was saying that Shukadeva Goswami he was born already with prema bhakti, like this.
But if that's the case, then how could he have any impersonal tendencies?
Yes, that's a big question. He was Atmarama. It means that he didn't want anything material here in this material world. Yes. Kind of his, this is his external qualification. Like we say that Kshantir Avyarta Kalatma Viraktir Mana Shunyata, the qualities of Bhava Bhakti is Virakti. Virakti means that one doesn't want anything from this material world. Yes. So this kind of a pastimes actually. Yeah. But
so it's not
yes, kind of pastimes.
It's not that he was actually an impersonalist, but he just in that description they're emphasizing his detachment, like the impersonalists have.
Yes.
Strong detachment.
Yes. Anyway, that's what Jiva Goswami speaks about Shukadeva Goswami, that he had received the prema even in the womb of the mother. And this story is there also in the Harivamsha Purana, where it is said that Shukadeva Goswami he was staying for 16 years in the womb of his mother. And then he didn't want to go out. And then Srila Vyasadeva, he asked him, go out. And he told, no, why? I'm afraid of Maya. Why? I can tell you that Maya won't touch you. It's okay. But then Shukadeva Goswami told Vyasadeva, I don't believe you because you are grihastha. You're attached to your wife. You want to have a son. That's why your word don't have enough strength. And Vyasadeva asked, okay, who can give you this assurance? And then he told, Krishna. And there's the question, how the child in the womb of the mother could knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Krishna he is the Maya Dhisha, the ruler of Maya, only by devotion, you see? And that's why he asked him to bring Krishna. And then Krishna came to the place from Dwarka to Badrikashram, and he told Shukadeva Goswami, go out. And he told, no, I won't go. Krishna told me, I assure you that if you go out, Maya won't touch you. Krishna gave him blessing. And then Shukadeva Goswami, he came out, and then it is said in the Harivamsha Purana, as soon as he came out, he bowed down to Krishna immediately. And then he started glorifying Krishna. And Krishna told, okay, you're chanting so sweetly, you're speaking such a sweet words, so you will be called Shuka, which means the parrot. See? That's from Harivamsha Purana. And then Shukadeva Goswami, he left his house, and then those events that Srila Vyasadeva, he wanted to bring him back, and then he told him Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he became a devotee. So, and like Shukadeva Goswami, he speaks about himself, Париништа Пинаргунье, Уттама Шлока Лила Я, Грихата Чита Раджарше, Adhyagam Mahata Kyanam. That he tells that I was attached, Parinishti Topi Nargunye. I was completely steady in the Nargunya. Nargunya means the Nirguna, the state of Brahman, personal realization. And then he said that he tells that I got attached by hearing to Krishna, by hearing about his pastimes. So also we can tell that this is his community. Like great Vaishnava, he will never tell that he has bhakti. Prema Sabhava Yaham Prema Sambandha Sayamani Krishna Mora Nahi Prema Gandha. In Chaitanya it is said that when one has prema, he will never tell that he actually has prema. He will tell that I have no even smell of prema, bhakti. So that's how I can try to reconcile all those events. So Shukadeva Goswami, he was just not an ordinary person. It's much more complicated. And then it is said also that when his father, he was too much attached to him and he wanted him to stay at home, Shukadeva Goswami said that he made a second copy of himself. He went to his house and he got married, and he had sons, he had children also. So it's far out, not just ordinary person. You see, that's what I can tell about Shukadeva Goswami. So we just have to pray to him to understand who he really was. The period of Shrimad Radharani, Premika Bhakta, who was impersonation in disguise, or just some great mystic sage, like maybe all together in one person. See, like that. Okay, I'm very much sorry that I'm speaking like this but this is what information I have about Shukadeva Goswami. That's why he is not an ordinary person. He was chosen to be the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes. And then also, like Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. It's one argument which Jiva Goswami speaks here in this 26th Anusheda. And then he speaks also very, very important thing. Атаева Сарвагунна Юкта Твам Асяева Дриштам Дharmah Projata Kaita Votra Its Adina. That therefore we see that this scripture is uniquely endowed with all good qualities. Like this is shown by such statement as Dharma Projata Kaita Votra Paramo Nirmatsaram Satam, completely rejecting all religious activities that are materially motivated. Like somebody might ask question, okay, if you tell that this is second body of Krishna, Harirhi Nirguna Sakshat, Krishna is Nirguna, he is completely transcendental. And that's why Jiva Goswami tells that Dharma Projata Kaitava, all the materially motivated dharmas are kicked out from Srimad Bhagavatam. It speaks only about pure devotional service, pure bhakti. So therefore it embodies all great or good qualities. It's all auspicious. And then he speaks Vedach Puranam Kavyam Cha Prabhur Mitram Priyevacha Bodhaya Nitihi Prahus Trivrit Bhagavatam Punaha Iti Muktabhari Himadri Kara Vachanena Cha. And in the words of Himadri commentary of Mukta or Mukta Bhala, it's the we spoke about Himadri, who was the Mandal scholar, Smartam, like very, very great PhD in that time. So he speaks about Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vedas, Puranas, and poetic works, kavyas, instruct like a master, like a friend, and like a lover, respectively. The Bhagavatam, however, teaches in all three ways. Like we can say that, okay, Vedas, they speak in orders. You should do that, should do this, like this. Vakyas in Vidhilin, in the order, like raise up, go there, do the yagya, just give donation, like this. This is the Vedas. They speak you what you should do. Then it's like a father who orders you, who is superior to you. Then Puranas they speak like a friend. It's better for you to do this because, and then they give you historical event, like there was some person who was very poor, and then he started doing some yajnas, and then he became very rich. So it's better for you to do yajnas. You see, that's how Puranas explain in a more friendly way. And then kavya means the poetry. As we said, kavya has this suggestive meaning, like Vyanjana Vritti. They don't speak you directly. They just speak with love. They give you hints. They just speak in such a way so that you yourself come to the conclusion, yes, it's important. Why don't I go and do yagya or do some activities? They don't speak it directly. You yourself come to the conclusion that you should do that. That's the three ways how Vedas convey the meaning to the persons in this world. And then because of that, Vedas are important, but too strict. Puranas are important, and kavyas are also important. But Srimad Bhagavatam is better than both Vedas, Puranas, and kavyas. Why? Because it does in the three ways at the same time, simultaneously. You see? Vedas do in only one way, Puranas in only one way, kavyas in only one way, but Bhagavatam does it in whole three ways. So that's why just one book can provide you whatever is necessary for you. Orders, then stories, and then rasa, suggestions, some kind of hints, so that you could yourself understand what you should do and how you should perform your devotional service. That's the uniqueness of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why Jiva Goswami, he has proven that Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest out of all Vedic literatures. Why? Because all Puranas speak about the superiority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Srimad Bhagavatam has whatever is there in whole Puranas, but in such a way that you can understand it, the digestible way. Then it's available in full on the earth, because there are many commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam which help to preserve him. And then because of the uniqueness of the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Shukadeva Goswami, who not only preserved it as it was received by Srila Vyasadeva, but improved it. And then Kim Bohuna, Aho Kim Bohuna, Shri Krishna Pratanit Rupam Eva Yam, that Srimad Bhagavatam is the second copy of Krishna, is not different from Krishna himself. Such an important book. So that's actually the end of Pramana Khanda of Sri Tattva-sandarbha. Jiva Goswami, he brought us to the conclusion that Srimad Bhagavatam is the best book, is the best source of knowledge about how we can serve Krishna, what is the absolute truth. Okay, so that's the first part of Sri Tattva-sandarbha. Okay, any questions? Is it clear? Any doubts maybe? Yes, Mataji.
I have a question.
Yes.
What does it mean to say that Srimad Bhagavatam is the exact image of Krishna?
We say that Shabda Brahma Param Brahma Mamophe Shashvatitanu. This verse is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. I can just quote it. I have it here. Yes.
But I'm just thinking that there's
Yes,
so
yes.
much in the Bhagavatam that doesn't appear to be the exact image of Krishna.
No, you see,
You know,
it's
the descriptions of the material. I mean, I guess it's all potencies of Krishna.
yes. When we speak about Krishna, Krishna is Bhagavan. Bhagavan means Parasya Shaktira Vidhaiva Shwete Svapaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. There are different energies of Supreme Lord. So Bhagavan means absolute truth along with all the energies. So that's why, because Srimad Bhagavatam, as we say that Vedas, they embody all the energies of the reality. And everything which is in Veda, which is there in the Vedas, is in the condensed form in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why, in Bhagavatam 6 canto 1651, Aham vai sarva bhutani bhutatma bhuta bhavanaha shabda brahma param brahma mamapye shashvatitanu. It is said that Aham vai sarva bhutani bhutatma bhuta bhavana. Krishna speaks that I am the source of all living entities. I am the soul in their hearts. And then Shabda Brahma Param Brahma Mama Uphe Shashvatitanu. Shabda Brahma and Param Brahma, I myself, and Shabda Brahma, the words of the Shastras, they are both my bodies. And actually, as we say that all the Vedas, they are like body of Krishna in whole, but it's a little bit vague. Like so many things are there in the Vedas. Like we have a tree, and you have juice, you have like different parts of the tree. But the most important part of the tree is the fruit. So that's why whatever is there in the Vedas, whatever qualities are there in the Vedas, whatever energies are there in the Vedas, they are in Srimad Bhagavatam. And because Vedas and Krishna, they are two of his bodies, Srimad Bhagavatam is also one of the bodies of Krishna. It's not different from him, like that.
Prabhu, kindly can you repeat again that verse number?
This is 1651.
1651.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, and also I think one more verse is there. No. Yes, this is the also in the sixth canto, first chapter, it is said that Veda Narayana Sakshat Svampurit Shushuma. That Veda Narayana Sakshat. Vedas are Supreme Lord Himself. And also we remember this verse from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Atha va are mahato bhutasya nikshvasitam. Atha rik Veda yajur Veda samal atha man gira saha, and so on. That all the Vedic scriptures, they are emanations of the breathing of the Supreme Lord. So that's why, because Krishna and his breathing are not different, so that's why Vedas and Krishna, they are not different from him. Actually, it's Achintya Bheda, Bheda Tattva. They are different and not different at the same time. Yeah. And also it is said that like we say that Abhinatvan Namanaminoh, that Krishna and his holy name, they are not different. But in the Namashtakam, Srila Rupa Goswami, he says, Vacham Vanchikam Ityudeti Bhavato Namasvarupam Dvayam Purvasman Paramayava Hanta Karunam Tatrapi Janimahi. That Vachi and Vachika, like Krishna, who is named, and his name, Bhavato Svarupam Dvayam, there are two forms of the same Supreme Lord. But Purvasmat Parameva Hanta Karunam Tatra Pijanimahi. But there is difference between Krishna and his holy name. The difference is that his holy name is more merciful than Krishna himself. And in the same way, Krishna Katha or Srimad Bhagavatam is also more merciful than Krishna. Like Srimati Radharani, she is not different from Krishna, but she is Karunamaya Radha. She is more merciful than him. That's Achintya, how they are at the same time one and different. You see? So that's why it's it's the second body of Krishna, but one quality is there that Srimad Bhagavatam is even more merciful than Krishna. Okay. Is it okay? Is it understood? No objections? No? Okay, let's go further because then, yes, and Gopranathan Prabhu in his commentary, he says that most recently, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada achieved a masterful feat of interpretation, comparable to in its creative boldness only to Shukadeva's recitation, by lucidly rendering the text of the Bhagavatam and its commentaries into English, a language ordinarily not fit for expressing the subtleties of Vaishnava theology. All alone, the faithful handlers of Srimad Bhagavatam have preserved its message free from distortion. And this is the verse, I'll just try to quickly find it. It's in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, just one second. 4th canto, 29th chapter, instructions of Narada Muni to King Prachain Bhakshishati, in verses 39 and 40, where it is said, Yatra Bhagavata Rajan Sathavo Vishada Dashayaha Bhagavat Gunanukat Hana Shravana Vyagracheta Saha, and then Tasmin Maham Mukharita Mahudbit Charitra Piyusha Shesha Saritah Paritah Sravanti Taye Piban Savitrisho Nripagat Hakar Nice Tannas Prishant Ashanatrit Bhaya Shokamo Haha. My dear king, in the place where pure devotees live, following the rules and regulations and thus purely conscious and engaged with great eagerness in hearing and chanting the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in that place, if one gets a chance to hear their constant flow of nectar, which is exactly like the waves of a river, one will forget the necessities of life, namely hunger and thirst, and become immune to all kinds of fear, lamentation, and illusion. 4:29, 39th and 40th verse. And then we have this verse, Yasmin Mahan Mukharita Mahubit Charitra Piyusha Shesha Saritah, that is like a nectar which comes out of the mouths of the great devotees. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary, he gives very, very nice explanation. He tells that pure devotee, he already has the meaning of actually he understands, he sees the pastimes of Krishna in his heart. But then you have to speak it. And in order to speak it in a very perfect way, Yasmin Mahan Mukharita Mahudbit Charitra. Mukharita means turn it into words. And Vishnu Thakur, he tells that words can be in different languages. In English language, in Russian language, in Hindi language, in Sanskrit language. But words, they are kind of secondary. But when pure devotee speaks, his nectar in his heart, like his anubhava, his understanding of Krishna's pastimes, by the yogamaya potency, turns into proper words in the proper language. So although Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken in Sanskrit language and English language is not proper for like speaking about the rasa and so on, usually our acharyas, they wrote the commentaries explaining Sanskrit by Sanskrit, and they tell that Sanskrit is such a nice language that can convey very, very subtle meanings, unlike the other languages. But because this is the Yogamaya, this verse proves that when pure devotee speaks on language which is not his native, or even just not even in the Sanskrit, like he might speak in English or in Hindi or in Russian language or in some French language and so on. But the Yogamaya potency, Mahan Mukharito Mahubit Charitra, it turns this internal nectar into proper words so that the hearers could receive the same nectar, although they hear in different language than the original composition written by Sanskrit. Okay? So that's the mystery of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why Srila Prabhupada, he tells in his introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam, Tadvak Visargo Janatak Kaviplavo Ismin Pratiшлokam Abadhava Sepi. This verse from first canto, 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, when they say that when pure devotees hear about Krishna Katha, it can be abhat havati api, not perfect externally. And he speaks that we are trying to convey the message of Srimad Bhagavatam on different language, which is the impossible work. But sincere devotees, if they want to hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, they will receive it, even though it's written in the English language. Okay? Is it okay? Nice, right? So that's why you can preach in English, in Hindi, in the Bengali, in Telugu, in different languages, and still it will be the same nectar as it is in Srimad Bhagavatam. But you have to be a pure devotee. You have to be under the influence of Yoga Maya potency. Then it will work. Okay? Jai. So let us go to the Prameya Khanda. It's the second part of Tattva-sandarbha. I think I will be able to cover today at least 27 or maybe 28 Anusheda 2. Jiva Goswami, in those two Anuchedas, Jiva Goswami, he speaks about the methodology of sandarbhas. Like, what is the structure of the sandarbha? He tells, Tatavam Brahma Nishesa Nishchayaya Shibhagavatam Eva Parva Aparya Virodhina Vicharyate. Therefore, this investigation concentrates on Srimad Bhagavatam. So he tells that if you want to understand the absolute truth, you have to study Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the highest source of knowledge. And then also Purva Aparva Avirodhina. Purva Aparva, previous statement and next statement. Avirodhina, not to contradict. Like we spoke about the role of the logic in our study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Uttamatikari Shastre Yukta Nipuna. He is very expert in the Shastras, he knows the Shastras, and also he knows the logic. He can apply logic properly. So that's why Jiva Goswami he tells that Shibhagavatam Purva Parva Virodhina Vicharyate. You have to use vichar. Vichar means use your intelligence and logic to understand what is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the object of study. He tells that we want to churn Srimad Bhagavatam to get a nectar out of it. And then he tells, Tatrasmin with this aim, in this work forming 6 sandarbhas, the introductory statements in each Anucheda serve the function of sutras. The quotations from Srimad Bhagavatam are the scriptural text under consideration, and Shridhara Swami's explanation of the Bhagavatam serves as our primary commentary. Shridhara Swami is a perfect Vaishnava. Okay, this is the next idea. So, what is the structure of sandarbhas? Jiva Goswami takes because Bhagavatam is the Akritrima Bhashya, the author's commentary on Vedanta Sutras. Srila Jiva Goswami, he takes the same structure which is there in the Vedanta Sutras. And what is Vedanta Sutras? We have the sutra itself, which is like an introductory statement. And then this statements on Vedanta Sutra, Athato Brahma Jignasa, is the sutra which explain one or few verses from the Upanishads, which are called Vishaya Vakya. Vishaya Vakya means the verse under the study or explanation. You see? And in Vedanta Sutras, we will never see original verses from the Upanishad. That's the complication of Vedanta Sutra. You just have the sutras, and then you can try to guess what is the Vishaya Vakya, what Srila Vyasadeva meant while speaking something in that particular sutra. You see? So that's why Jiva Goswami he makes this statement, which like sutra, which has inside the Vishaya Vakya, this verse from Upanishad. Sutra as an explanation of the verse from the Upanishad, or some group of verses. And then Srila Vyasadeva, he gives his own explanation, bhashya. He makes one statement, another statement. Like sometimes one adhikarana, it means like a cell in Vedanta Sutra, and it has the structure. We have one verse, one sutra, then explanation, and then conclusion. Purvapaksha means the opposite argument. Then he refutes this argument, and then he gives a final conclusion. That's the structure of the Vedanta Sutra, one Adhikarana. And Jiva Goswami, he calls his chapters in the Sandarbhas Anucheda. Adhikarana, Anucheda. Similar word. But then what he does? First he gives his own introductory statement. Okay, let us speak about the Supreme Lord, or about his transcendental body, or about his abode, and so on. This is the introductory statement. Then it's like a sutra in the Vedanta Sutra. But in Vedanta Sutra, you don't have these Vishaya Vakyas. But Jiva Goswami, to make it clear, he brings then, he quotes then the verses from Shrimad Bhagavatam as Vishaya Vakyas, as the verses under the explanation. You see? So his own statement, okay, let's do this or let's study that. Then one or two verses from Shrimad Bhagavatam, and then Bhashya, commentary. Bhashya, he uses Sridhara Swami's commentaries as the main source of explanation. And Jiva Goswami, he says, Srila Sridhara Swami is a perfect Vaishnava, but to entice the Advaita Vadis, nowadays prominent all over the central part of the country and elsewhere, to entice them to become absorbed in the glories of the Supreme Lord, he mixed into his writings traces of their theories. When Sri Swami Charana's commentary agrees with the conclusions of pure Vaishnava philosophy, we cite it verbatim. Okay, and it's a huge topic. If I go into it, we won't be able to finish the Tattva-sandarbha. It's a big topic, because I was actually studying the Bhavadika Deepika of Sridhara Swami, and I was trying to find where exactly he put these traces of Mayavadi philosophy. And I found in few places. Actually, it's there. It's not like Jiva Goswami, he mistakes that speaking that Sridhara Swami, he put some Mayavada in his commentaries. But it's in a different way. He speaks it not like Mayavadis, hardcore Mayavadis. He, like in this verse, Idam Hipam Bhagavati Vetaro in Shrimad Bhagavatam 1:2:23, 1:5:23. Very, very important verse. That this universe is as if different from the Supreme Lord. And then in this commentary, Sridhara Swami, he says, kind of Mayavada philosophy. Yes, everything is one, but not directly. Like his idea is that yes, everything is one, but then he gives an alternative explanation that everything is one, but it's also different. But somebody might tell that yes, he has some Mayavada philosophies there. And then Jiva Goswami, he while in his commentary to this verse, what he does, he tells that yes, the second alternative explanation that everything is not one, like which is not Mayavada, he tells yes, that's the proper. And then he tells that another conclusions, another opinions, we reject. And he doesn't say that Sridhara Swami in his commentary, he gives this Mayavada philosophy. You see, very politely. That's the etiquette or the maryada or the like special mood of our previous acharyas, especially Jiva Goswami. Whenever he sees that there is Mayavada philosophy in Sridhara Swami's commentaries, he doesn't say that I reject this opinion of Sridhara Swami. He just says that whatever Advaita Vadis speak explaining this verse is not proper. Like this. He doesn't say that Sridhara Swami is one who also speaks Mayavada in his commentary. And it's actually not like hardcore Mayavadi does. It's just some kind of, you can understand it in Mayavadi way, not directly, But somebody who is very meticulous, he can find, yes, it's Mayavada in Sridhara Swami's commentaries. But it's very, very rare, like just few verses. In whole Bhagavatam, I found maybe 5-10 places where Sridhara Swami speaks something which is like, can be taken as Mayavada philosophy. But mostly he speaks about Krishna as the Supreme Lord, about pure devotional service. You see. Okay? Is it understood? And he did it because he was living at the time when Mayavadis, they were very, very prominent. And it's kind of bridge preaching also. He wanted to entice them, to take him as equal to them, and then just swallow this bread or whatever you put in the hook, and then they swallow this Mayavada. Okay, he's our man. But then Krishna had Supreme Lord, and so on. They will take it also at the same time. Okay. There's the strategy which Sridhara Swami used, and therefore Jiva Goswami, he tells that he is the Shuddha Vaishnava, because he was praying to Lord Nrsimhadeva in his commentaries, and actually what he speaks is pure devotion. And he was part of the I don't remember exactly, I think it's Nibarka Sampradaya. Yes. And it is said that his guru, he was also Vaishnava. But anyway, it's about Sridhara Swami is complicated because Mayavadi they raised him in his Guru Parampara as if he were one of them. Yeah. So it's complicated. Therefore, in Madhava Sampradaya, some scholar, they say that Sridhara Swami's version of Srimad Bhagavatam is the Mayavadi Patha, is the Mayavadi version. But our version in Madhava Sampradaya is the Vaishnava Patha, is the proper understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. Okay? That's about Sridhara Swami, and we accept him as authority because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took Sridhara Swami's explanation as completely authoritative. Yes, that's why we follow Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, and then he tells that is one of the main source of bhashyas or explanations of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then he tells, Kvachit tesham eva anyatra drishta vyakyanusarina darvinati desha vikyata parama bhagavata nam tesham eva bahulyena tatra vaishnavatvena prasithatvat Shri Bhagavata eva. Kvachit maharaja dravidesha bhurishaham. We base our explanation on certain Bhagavatam verses, on comments given by Sridhara Swami on other texts. Like he wrote a commentary to Vishnu Purana too, and there he gives some important explanations of the Vedic knowledge. So that's why Jiva Goswami, he also quotes his commentaries from to Vishnu Purana. Especially in Tattva-sandarbha, in the very beginning, he quotes them about the Bhagavan, many important verses. Then sometimes we base our explanation on statements from the exalted devotees of the Lord known as the Sri Vaishnavas. These Vaishnavas are famous throughout the Dravida Desha and other regions, and the goddess Sri herself founded their Sampradaya. It's Lakshmi Sampradaya. Srimad Bhagavatam attests to the greatness of these devotees and affirms their numerical strength in South India and their reputation as Vaishnavas. Kvachin Maharaja Dravideshu Cha Bhuri Shaham is 11.538. In Kali Yuga there are indeed Vaishnavas scattered here and there, but they are especially abundant in the Dravida regions. The statements of the Shri Vaishnavas that we cite are certified by the authority of Sri Ramanuja Bhagavad Pada, whose opinions are found in Sri Bhashya and his other works. And then Jiva Goswami tells, sometimes we simply follow the self-evident meaning of the original Bhagavatam text, and sometimes we have our own explanations on other authorities. Like he's going to cite also some different scholars too. We do not bother to elaborate, however, on the already well-known explanations of the Advaitavadis. So Jiva Goswami, he tells that the main source of authority is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we have explanations on the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Jiva Goswami, he gives his own explanations. And for that, he can quote some verses from different scriptures, but not to prove the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, it would be that different scriptures, they need to support the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam. No, he tells that Bhagavatam is swatah pramanya, то есть it's self-evident. But the explanations which I'm giving, he tells, I base them on Shridhara explanation or Shri-Vaishnava explanations, and also I give some my own explanations, and for that I quote some different verses. So Jiva Goswami, he gives verses from different scriptures not to prove the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam, but to prove his own explanations of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. Yes, Vishalakshi Prabhu, yes, you have a question?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Sorry
Krishna.
to interrupt you. Can I ask the question?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu is nicely you're explaining, but here Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada is explaining. We know that Srimad Bhagavatam is a natural commentary and directly is taken direct meaning of the scripture.
Mm-hmm.
But here Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada is explaining using the tool of Pratyaksha, Anumana and Shabda. He is using the tool because that Sripad Madhvacharya, as one of the 9th principle is that to use this tool here Jiva Goswami is using, or those days Mayavadis are there to explain better them, and that's why it is used. Why it is?
Why he's using? Because it's he already told that yes, Shabda Pramana is the highest, and out of all Shabdas, Vedic Shabda is the highest, and out of all Vedic Shabda, Srimad Bhagavatam Shabda is the highest. But then he told that still to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Vichar Yate, he tells, that we should use your Vichar, the Tattva Vichar, or logic, and then logic is important. Like to receive the Shabda, we need Pratyaksha, you have to hear it, you see, you have to speak it, right? And then to understand the Shabda, you also need some logic. But this is not like Shushka Tarka, like just independent logic, but logic which you apply to understand the meaning of the Shastras, and not just logical tools. Like we quoted this verse from by Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:45. Slopapi ruchir evasyat Krishna Tattva avabodhika. Yuktistu kevala nasti yetse tata pratishtata. He tells that slopapi ruchir evasyat. You need some ruchi. Which ruchi? Taste to devotion. You need some bhakti. Then Krishna Tattva avabodhika. And yuktistu kevala nasti. Just separately logic won't be able to give you proper understanding. Yes, tata pratishtata, because it doesn't have the foundation. So, and then Jiva Goswami in the commentary to this verse, he tells that we have to have bhakti, devotion, and at the same time you have to use logic to understand the meaning of the verses. You see, that's why Jiva Goswami, he uses these explanations and logic to understand the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam. Not just by logic, but the logic combined with devotion. No other way. See. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Because Sripad Madhvacharya is saying that this is one of the principle Jiva Goswami used here also, right?
No, Jiva Goswami, he just follows the whole Vedic methodology. Madhvacharya is only one who speaks about that. Madhvacharya also speaks about that. So many acharyas, they speak about that you should combine our devotional service with the logic. You have to use logic, but with devotion. That's the proper method of understanding the Vedas.
Yes, Prabhu. But we also know that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Tarko Apritashta.
The Tarko Pratishtha, yes, that's exactly what Jiva Goswami speaks like. Asitat Apratishtha, just logic, just Kevala Yukti. or Shushka Tarka is called. Just logic is apratishthata. But if you use logic along with the devotion, then devotion can make sense of using logic, no otherwise. See?
So that means the logic should be in relation to Krishna. Right?
Yes, definitely. Да? And then Jnana Karma Adina Vritam in the this verse Anibelashta Shunyam, it is said that you have to avoid just some kind of speculations on the impersonal Brahman, but Krishna Tattva Bhajaniya Tattva Anusandhanam Avashya Apekshatvat. Jiva Goswami tells that the efforts to understand the Krishna Tattva as he is in different ways, like as he is described in the scriptures, trying to understand him to serve him better, that is very important for you. And this is also its vichara. You receive it, and then you get the knowledge, hear it, and then you try to understand and apply it to your devotional service. That's the way how you can get the knowledge, you see. Not just hear, but hear and pray and try to see how it's relevant for you, how you can apply it in your devotion, how it helps you to become better devotee. Like that. That's the proper technology of understanding the Shastras. See? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you. And Jiva Goswami, he tells that he's not going to use the explanations of Advaitavadis. Why? Because he doesn't want to go into too much polemics with them. Like whenever we see that they support your opinion, like we said that paramatam anumatam, if your opponent's opinion agrees with your opinion, you can use it. Like Srila used to call this Narayana Paro Vyaktat from the Shankaracharya's commentary to Bhagavad Gita. And this is the part which is according to our philosophy. But another parts he's not using. So that's why Gopinath Prabhu writes about that. The Advaitavadis comments on the words spoken by the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are meant to obliterate the Lord's existence as an absolute person, to relegate him to the position of another aspect of illusion. Even in this view, indirectly, even if this view indirectly acknowledges him as the highest form of illusion, it is repugnant to is disgusting to pure Vaishnavas. Therefore, Vaishnavas reject to the Advaita Vedantis. They speak about. They refer to the Advaita Vedantis as Mayavadis, proponents of the theory that everything with name and form, even God, is a creation of Maya. Without being rude, Srila Jiva Goswami here offers a mild excuse for not citing Advaita explanations on Srimad Bhagavatam in the Sandarbhas. He just says that what is the use of quote this Krishna aparathas, like Mayavadi Krishna Paratha in Chaitanya Charitamrita said. Mayavadi they offend Krishna. They tell that Krishna is Nirguna, Nirakara, he doesn't have legs, hands, head, and so on. So this is offense. If I say, for example, to you like that you don't have head, don't have leg, but you do have, you will get offended. So in this way, Mayavadi Krishna Paratha. And Jiva Goswami, he doesn't want to quote their explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam as proper bhashyas, as part of the Anushedis. He can quote them as purvapakshas, as the opponent views, but not to support his opinions. You see, and sometimes when they agree with him, those portions of their commentaries he can quote, but not everything they wrote about Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, is it understood? Is it clear? No. Yes. Okay, so let us at least start the 28th Anusheda, because it speaks about the different sources also which Jiva Goswami uses for the Sandarbhas. He says, in this book I also cite various statements from Shruti, the Puranas and other scriptures, quoting the exact words I have seen in writing. I do this to provide evidence for my own ideas, rather than to verify what Srimad Bhagavatam is saying. Okay? So he says that Bhagavatam is the highest authority. Vedas, they are relative authority in comparison to Srimad Bhagavatam. But he's given his own explanations. And for that, he quotes also some verses from Puranas, Itihasas, Vedas, and so on. So that's the priorities he establishes in the Sandarbhas. And it's very important, because otherwise those Vedic statements, they will kind of, they proves that Bhagavatam, or what Bhagavatam says. But Bhagavatam is already the highest pramana. As we said, that if you use pratyaksha and anumana, or any other means to confirm what Vedas say that this is authoritative, it means that you put pratyaksha and anumana higher than Vedic authority. So this way, Jiva Goswami, he doesn't want to say that any Vedic literatures, any statements from the Vedas, they are higher than what Srimad Bhagavatam says. That's why he put so many efforts to establish the highest authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. And actually it's important for us too, that if we see something in Srimad Bhagavatam and something different in any other scripture, we should choose the version of Srimad Bhagavatam, its opinion, not the other scripture's opinion, like that. Yeah. So that's why first part of Tattva-sandarbha is to establish very, very firm foundation of our faith, that Bhagavatam is enough, is the highest, everything is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. You don't need anything. But then, while speaking about like explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes Jiva Goswami, he quotes from different scriptures. Then he says, sometimes I have not seen the original scriptures from which I cite passages. Such quotations I borrow from various works of Srimad Vacharya Charana, including Shri Bhagavata Tatpari, Mahabharata Tatpari, and Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Shri Madhava is the spiritual master of the Tattva-vada school. He is an old standard authority. Although he originally belonged to the disciplic line directly descending from Shriman Shankaracharya, he separated himself from Shankara school and joined the Vaishnava party. His special Vaishnava doctrine has been preached widely. Among his disciples and later followers, renowned in South India and elsewhere, are Shivijayadvaja Tirtha, Brahmanya Tirtha, and Vyasa Tirtha, all eminent scholars of the Vedas and their purports. So he says that sometimes when I quote some verses from Shastras, which are not available right now, but I see this verse that it was quoted by Madhvacharya, then he tells that I borrow this from him. And I have a firm faith that Madhvacharya, he is not mistaken, that he is not going to cheat somebody. It's kind of the etiquette of the great sages, that they won't lie. Like in Bhagavad Gita, in the 16th chapter, Krishna tells about the demonical mentality, that they sometimes they twist the meaning of the Vedas, or they even can change the words of the Vedas to prove their own ideas. But this is the hypocrisy, the duplicity of the demons. But real Vaishnavas, if they see something in the Vedas, they believe it, and then they won't change it to get some material benefit and so on, to cheat the people. So that's why Jiva Goswami, he tells that Madhvacharya, he was the genuine Acharya, real Vaishnava, like a real scholar. And if he quotes some verses from the Vedas and Puranas, although right now you won't be able to find those books and those verses, still I feel that this is authoritative, and therefore on Madhava's authority I quote these verses also in my work in the Sandarbhas. And then he tells that also in Madhava's land there are many great scholars and Vaishnavas like Vyasa Tirtha, Vijayadvaja Tirtha, Brahmanya Tirtha, and so on. And sometimes Jiva Goswami, he quotes what they said, their arguments, he used them. Like Vyasa Tirtha, Nyayavali, like his books about Nyaya or about the Vedas, actually very nice works. And Jiva Goswami, sometimes when he sees that their argument is very valuable, he uses it. But also Jiva Goswami, he uses not just Madhava's arguments, but also arguments of the Ramanujacharya and the other scholars. But what he wants to say here, that he believes the authority of Madhavacharya. And then he quotes what Madhava himself speaks about his work in Mahabharata Tatparya. Shastrarthanani sanjanam vedantasya prasadataha deshe tadha pragrandhan drishtva chaiva prithak vidhan yatha sa bhagavan vyasak sakshat Narayana prabhu jagada bharata dhyeshu tatthavakshe tada tatikshaya. And so Shrimadava says in the Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, it is by the mercy of the Vedanta Sutras that I have correctly understood other scriptures, having studied various kinds of books found in various places. In this work, the opinions I write agree with the views of Bhagavan Vyasa, the Supreme Lord Narayana in person, as he has expressed them in his Mahabharata and other works. Like, actually, it is said that Shripad Madhvacharya, when he went to Himalayas, he met Srila Vyasadeva there, and he's got the explanations of the Vedas from his mouth. So that's why he tells that whatever I write is authoritative. And because Srila Vyasadeva, he knew the books which were available at the time. Like we say that Vyasa is the editor of the Vedas, and he checked which books are authoritative and which books are not authoritative. So because at the time of Madhavacharya also some corrupted books existed. So what happened? He went to Srila Vyasadeva and he checked with him, is this authoritative book or not authoritative book? So that's why he tells that whatever I write in my books is according to the views of Srila Vyasadeva. It was checked with him. You see? And then Jiva Goswami writes, it is useful to know that Madhavacharya has cited through texts such as the Chaturveda Shiksha, as well as portions of the Garuda and the other Puranas that are no longer available elsewhere, and Samhitas like the Maha Samhita, and Tantras like the Tantra Bhagavata and Brahma Tarka. So he says that those books which are quoted by Madhavacharya, they are not available. And scholars, they say that about 325, something like these books, which are quoted in the Madhavacharya's works, they are not available anymore right now. And somebody might say, okay, Madhavacharya, he just imagined these books, he just told that yes, such a book existed, and he just quoted from it as if it was a real book. And then he in this way he spoiled the meaning of the Vedas. But Jiva Goswami says, no, not like that. He was very chaste. He would never do something which would be contrary to the Vedic knowledge. It's not just kind of scholarship. It's the great responsibility which great acharyas have to give the proper knowledge to the persons in general. So that's what Jiva Goswami speaks about the methodology of the Sandarbhas. And maybe tomorrow I will say a few words, like I will show in the 29th Anusheda. It's actually the first Anusheda, which is the where Jiva Goswami starts already giving prameyas, the knowledge, the most important stuff. Like he wants to analyze what is the tattva, what is the highest reality, and what our relationship with it. And we'll go back to the 8th Anucheda, where Jiva Goswami, he spoke this verse, Pachit Svanigame, about the Anubandha Chatushte, where Jiva Goswami, he, like in the 9th verse, Jiva Goswami, he explained how this 8th verse in the condensed form has the four parts of the Anubandha Chatushte, Sambandha, Videya, Prayojana, and Vishaya. And then he told that in order to understand this, first we have to find what are the proper pramanas, the sources of knowledge. And so far he was trying to establish that Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest source of knowledge. And then, based on Srimad Bhagavatam, he's going to explain all those things. Sambandha, Avideya, Prayojana. And then he's going to speak about the Vachika Sambandha. But we'll speak about it tomorrow. Okay, so this is the we finish it first part of the Tattva-sandarbha Pramana Khanda, and then we'll go to the Prameya Khanda, second part. Okay, and as I said, that first part is very important, but second part is also as important as the first part, and actually even more interesting than first part. Okay, because first part most of the people they already know. This so many courses were there about the first part of the Tattva-sandarbha, but second part is even more interesting. So let's stop now. Any questions, dear devotees, so far? I'm very sorry that I just a little bit late in the class, but tomorrow we'll continue the Tattva-sandarbha, the second part. Okay. Thank you. Grantaraja Shri Tattva-sandarbha ki jai, Grantaraja Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Sveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bhava. Jai. Okay.
Sarvajna Prabhu ki.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.